I'm Alex Buriak, the host of today's show, and today we have Gabe Karp with us. He's the author of Don't Get Mad at Penguins. And if you're doing real estate deals, negotiating acquisitions, or just trying to build your portfolio faster, this book is a must read. It's all about how to stay powerful when deals get messy. And they always get messy. So, Gabe, excited to have you here today. Let's dive in, okay?
All right, Alex. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I mean, we are so happy that you're here with us. I got a question for you, though, okay? All right. So, in real estate deals, they get emotional. They get emotional fast. Sellers get nervous. Agents get pushy. In your book, you talk about never letting emotions hijack your logic. When you feel negotiations starting going sideways emotionally, what's the first thing you tell yourself to stay in control?
I say, stop. Just take a beat. Let me back up a little just for 1 second. Just say the reason why your emotions can start to get the better of you is that we've probably been socialized from a young age to be nice, be kind. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But we also have like a billion years of evolution hard coded into our DNA. We are bred to protect ourselves with a fight or flight survival instinct. That's very powerful because it's neurological in our brains. And when we're in a tense negotiation and that instinct gets triggered, what happens is things like cortisol and adrenaline flood our blood system. And it creates immediate changes like our heart starts racing, our breathing becomes rapid and shallow. And if you think about it, back when we lived in caves, our ancestors lived in caves, you needed that instinct to survive a threat. It's very inefficient to deal with that in a real estate negotiation. So the second you feel the physiological effects of conflict in a negotiation, like the hair in the back of your neck stands up, your heart starts racing, I say stop. Take a beat. Take just one deliberate breath. It only takes a half a second. But just focusing on one breath, that's going to pull you out of that instinctive response and into intellectual awareness. And that gives you power and control. And at that point, you can say, okay, I just pulled myself out of that instinct. You're still going to feel, jumpy because you're going to have stuff pumping through your blood. But the part, that connection to the part of your brain that thinks will have been reestablished. And now you can really focus.
That's amazing. I mean, like everything that he's talking about right now is everything we try to hear to teach at Jet Lending to all of our borrowers. Because the one thing we say at Jet Lending, the deal is never closed until it closes in funds. People back out, prices shift, emotions fly, and don't get mad at penguins. You talk about managing conflict smartly, not emotionally. How do you recommend investors keep deals moving forward without getting steamrolled or blowing up the negotiation?
Yeah. So let's say you're dealing with someone who's trying to steamroll you.
Yeah.
People can, and by the way, maybe this person has a high level of urgency or they're passionate about it and they're not trying to bully you, but they're engaging in bully-like behavior.
Mm.
At that point, I think what is very effective is you use what I call the shopping list voice. Instead, if their volume is getting higher and they're starting to yell at you, don't try to go back over the top of them. Instead, step back, use a shopping list voice. So just obviously, if you said, "Hey, I'm going to the store, you want me to get you anything?" I said, "Yeah, I want to make a cake. Can you get some eggs, milk, sugar, frosting, and sprinkles?" It's very dispassionate. And it's like, I can tell you're very eager to get this done and you're pretty passionate about it. But I'd like to keep this at a level where we can both just have a dialogue here. You've raised a concern. You've raised it very strongly and adamantly. I've heard you. I have a response to that. And if you're ready, I can share it with you. And then you're sort of like, you're just toning everything down. You're making it dispassionate. And the like underneath that is what you're saying is, come on, man, we got to be mature about this. And like, let's not let our emotions get away with us. And you're also saying, when we get into conflict, I have the strength to control my emotions. I don't allow them to control me. And you want to encourage the other side to do the same. You didn't even tell, like, you don't want to say this because it's condescending, but the demeanor is you have the strength to control your emotions too. So let's do it so we can get to this deal.
Right. You kind of have to coach people along. I mean, you introduced the idea of toxicity threshold in the book. The moment when a negotiation becomes a waste of time. All right, for our real estate investors, how do you know when a seller or situation has crossed that line and when to walk away?
Yeah. So I say that the when we talk about the toxicity, it's we've got natural things that occur in life like anger, fear, judgment, ego. Those things in the optimal levels are great. Like for me, anger motivates me to fix things that are broken.
Yeah.
But the moment that that is fixed and I still feel that anger, it's not serving me. It's becoming toxic. When you're dealing with someone who either their ego is trying to overpower you or maybe your ego is getting triggered, you got to recognize that and call it out to the other person. And you can say, look, uh, tensions are running high. This is an emotional deal, as it should be, because it's really important to both of us. But I just want to make sure that our emotions, and let the other person off the hook, my emotions, and to some extent yours, aren't clouding our view of this thing. If this is no longer a deal that makes sense for both of us, we need to know that. But I don't want to make that assumption just because I'm feeling a certain way or because you're feeling a certain way. I want to make sure that if we decide to walk away, that it's because the numbers don't make sense. Now, by the way, if you say that, the other person's going to say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I didn't say we're going to walk away. What are you taking me to the? You taking me to the brink?" Say, "No, no, no. I'm making sure we don't walk away."
Right.
You
And,
know,
yeah, instilling that almost that fear of loss. Maybe we can get back to the table.
right? And then you tell the person this will make them really afraid. If you say, "Listen, if we do walk away, we're both going to walk away smiling, shaking hands, saying, 'Hey, we gave it a try, it didn't work out, and we're going to leave the opportunity for some deal in the future.'" That's going to say to somebody, "Okay, I just almost blew this deal because I let my mouth get away from me, and I'm gonna bring it back to a reasonable spot, and I'm gonna deal with this guy because he's trying to make a deal."
No, perfect. I mean, because in the book, you were talking price with sellers, it's almost automatic. Defenses are going to go up. Okay, so don't get mad at penguins. You share ways to kind of disarm defensiveness. Like, what's one simple thing like our borrowers can say to like lower the tension and keep that deal moving? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to some of the things I've already said, the details can kind of depend which tactic you use. But one thing you can do is when somebody is coming at you pretty heavy, just focus on what their position is. And I say put all of your energy into articulating their position better than they've even said it themselves. Because most of us, we just want to feel heard. And nobody wants to negotiate a solution to a conflict if they don't believe that the other side understands what is important to them and why it's important. Because the unspoken thought in their head is, well, if this guy doesn't understand what I want and why I want it, how can the solution we can negotiate take all that into account? So you can eliminate all of that by focusing not on convincing them to adopt your point of view, but rather convincing them that you understand their point of view. It's like I always say this. You ever been in a situation where you're trying to say something, you're kind of bumbling through your words, and the other person says, "Oh, do you mean?" And then they say it exactly how you want, and you're like, "Yes, that's exactly what I mean." Like that feeling of relief you get, focus on creating that feeling for the other person. At that point, you're going to have an extremely willing participant on the other side.
Oh, but that is phenomenal. Well, one of the things, because we only have a couple minutes, Gabe, your book, Don't Get Mad at Penguins, is one of those rare reads. It's tactical, it's practical, and if it's needed, if you're serious about scaling and closing more deals, and in any business, not just real estate, for everyone listening, grab a copy, keep it close, and use every time you're working a deal. Gabe, what's like the best place they can grab the book and also not just the book, really follow your work, really get some education on how to do this?
Sure. The book's available everywhere books are sold: Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble. There's also an audiobook narrated by me. And you can also check out gabekarp.com. You can see what I'm doing there. You can follow me on LinkedIn and check out my TED Talk, How to Thrive with Difficult People. It's only 8 minutes. If you got 8 minutes, check it out. You'll like it.
Guys, We had a wonderful experience today, really learning from someone who truly knows. In any business, whether it be real estate or selling hammers, you solve problems. How do you solve problems? You get to know the person and you solve for X for exactly what the situation gets, keeping your emotions down and your tactical response up. Gabe, I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Appreciate being here.
Thank you so much.